The covenants are very, very powerful. I have known covenants in many religions. And those people who got into a covenant with God, they were all provided for. Any particular sect or race that entered into a covenant, I know for sure, were provided for at least materially, not only provided for but abundantly given. The entire sect or caste or race in my study has shown that they were all given for sure the material benefits. It's all because of the covenant. And the covenant that you are entering into, Guru Namah Shivaya, is to chant this Om Guru Namah Shivaya Dhram Dattatreya Shiva Baba Namaha. And then the affirmation through the blessings of Guru Namah Shivaya. I will get this wealth without my asking for it. These words are charged with power. They are mantras. They are not just ordinary chants and affirmations. And I have energized them and I have given them power. Whether it is the Old Testament, which talks about the covenant, or the New Testament where Jesus says, "You do this in my name," then it will be done. What do? They is they just put all their energy for the use of humanity. And you can use that energy and you will find miracles happening. You have depended on the external reality for so long. You have improved your skill sets, your strategies. You went to school to acquire more education. But they have not helped you significantly. But what can really help you is when you go and get in touch with these powerhouses and acquire this power, then it will happen. Then a life will not be a struggle. It will be a struggle as long there is this ego and the mind. Now, I want to do something now to diffuse your old mindset and karma. The most difficult thing in the world is to change anyone, including yourself. The mindset keeps coming to you. And if you examine that, you will be committing the same mistakes over and over again. This is called in psychology repeating the patterns. The pattern gets repeated. You will consistently get a bad job, consistently get a bad relationship, consistently do the same mistake over and over again. And it is due to an innate predilection within your own consciousness to go and choose for these things. And that is bad karma. You have to keep your slate completely clean. If you can walk out of this hall today as a completely new person, without any past behavioral patterns, then the sky is the limit. Then the sky is the limit. It is because out of fear of the unknown that we don't want to give up the old things. We just want to cling on to the known. We have a tremendous amount of potential and opportunities. The only true wealth you have is your own divine consciousness. If you can draw from that, then you can change anything that you don't like in your life. Your home, car, clothes, everything will go away. You are clinging on to it. Don't allow the mind to think too many thoughts. If at all if you want to make a proper use of the mind, don't go blah-blahing. Instead of blah-blahing, just keep this chant going on. Om Guru Namah Shivaya. Om Guru. See, what's the use of saying Guru Namah Shivaya? Because you become him. Because you become what you think. But instead of doing that, what we are trying to do is we are thinking upon strategies. What's the best strategy for me to go and be successful? So strategic planning occupies about 90% of our consciousness. And it has failed. So it's time that you have to change your model, your paradigm. And you cannot even change your paradigm on your own. You need grace. I am not here to talk about ordinary things or human behavior. I am here to give you an understanding of miracles. I have known many of my people. If you go to the site called the Miracles of Dattatreya Shiva Baba, you will see how many people have experienced miracles. Money showed up in the bank account. I'll share you two instances. One person from New York. He's so devoted. And then there was $100,000 money showed up in the account. And then he did not know how. Then they traced the person who put the money, and he kept the money in the account and kept it for a week. And then he used the money. Then they found out the guy who deposited the money did not have money in the account, but then he cashed the money. So the two banks were fighting, and they came back and said, this guy's check is no good, but you cashed the check. And he said, I kept it for a week and then I cashed it. 3 months later, the banks came back to him, 3 or 6 months later, I don't remember, it's a few years ago. They said, we have reconciled this problem between the two banks, so you don't have to pay. I don't know what happened. There is another instance of a person, and he started a business with that money. There was another instance in London. There is a guy who got 200,000 pounds in his account. It was a check from a huge corporation, and he never worked for the corporation or nothing. And then he used the money and started a business. But then after 6 months they found out the check was wrongly deposited. And then the bank came back and asked him, so it was by mistake the money has been transferred to your account. So what can you do? Well, I spent the money, so you know that I don't have the money in my account. So what you still owe the money. So what can you do? So I can pay £500 a month for lifetime. Okay. Things can happen many ways. There are innumerable ways that miracles can happen for you. We have to create that faith. The problem is faith. If we have the faith, then everything happens. That's why Jesus said, if you have faith like a mustard seed, you can move mountains. 2,000 years later, I am saying what Jesus said. It's not a new teachings. It's very, very old teaching. You can even move, mountains will move. If we say to them, go to the mountains move, it will move. But then the mind comes in, well, forget about it, mountain is never going to move, I have to move. Then move. It will move. There is a Zen teachings, the same teaching, where the master asks the guy to go, the disciple to go and sit before the ocean. Master, how long? You sit before the ocean until there are no waves in the ocean. And this guy goes and sits before the ocean. And the waves stop. Because everything is you are projecting from inside out. If you have a different state of consciousness, the whole world will look very different. The way it is looking as it is now, it is because this is the way you want to see the world. The way the guy who makes a $4 million wants to see the $4 million a month because that is his projection. Maybe not in this lifetime, but maybe from another lifetime or several lifetimes before. Similarly, the person who wants to see a jobless condition, that person projects it from outside. You cannot go and complain, this is the economy, or this is I am black, or I am Hispanic, nobody is giving me a job. Obama didn't think that because he was black he could not become the president. He said, I can be the president. That's why he wrote the book, The Audacity of Hope. The audacity. You have to be audacious. Ted Kennedy had all the qualifications. He could not become. He had the family name, money, clout, people supporting him. But look at Obama, who came from nowhere, the junior-most senator, without clout, without moneyed people backing him. Without much experience, he raised $1 billion. And became, so the sky is the limit. This is a proof that anybody can do that. You don't have to become the president of the United States. At least you should have a decent life. I'm not, as I said, it's not important at all for you, anyone, to become a millionaire at all. If you can pay all your bills and live a comfortable life and spend at least 3 or 4 hours a day in prayer, your health will become better, your relationship will become better, you will have peace of mind. And you have to spend these 2 to 3 hours on God. I would say even 4. You will be in bliss. The problem we have here is we have a godless society, a godless civilization. And what we have gained? Only more pain, more unrest. And then we go into smoking, alcohol to do that. But again, the solution that I am offering is not counseling, not psychological, behavioral modification technique, but again, divine intervention to change our patterns. So I'm going to give you another meditation now to change the behavioral patterns. I have in this session imposed my intent on not only people assembled here, but on everyone, that they should not cling on to their old karma and manifest it day by day. They should all have the ability, divinely provided, to erase all old karma, old patterns, so that they can bring in new things, new opportunities, and new life. And that is the purpose of this chant. Tirunelakantam is the one that I have been teaching for many, many years, but the Makaral is the one that I have added. Again, I was divinely guided to a place where I was revealed this Makaral Shivaya Nama, and people who were with me in India during my birthday trip this year, the beginning of this year, I took them to that sacred vortex where I was revealed this sound. So this would be useful for us to divinely diffuse our diseases, our bad money karma, our bad relationship karma. So I want you to use this also in one sitting meditation, and I have introduced some changes in the practice, especially the locations where the chant should go on the right shoulder and the left shoulder and throat and the two brains. The shoulders carry the burden. So there is an expression, the world is sitting on his shoulders. It's not just an expression without meaning. The yogis know that the karma is in the bones, in the ball and the socket. So if you lose that, you cannot do any karma, because all activities come to an end if you cannot move your shoulder. So that's where within the bones, karma is preserved as subtle vibrations. So if you go deep into that bone, then you will go inside through the power of your own consciousness. The consciousness is so powerful. Consciousness, if you want a comparison for consciousness, it is just like radio waves, infrasonic waves. Radio waves are very powerful. They can go everywhere. That's how powerful is your consciousness. So if you can engage your consciousness with these sound waves, then you will be able to diffuse the old karma. That is, if there is no old karma supporting you, you will not be doing the same job. The same, in every lifetime you come back to the earth plane, you do a different thing. Some of them do the same thing, but in a different way, in an improved way. So in every birth, there is a learning experience. But if you want a complete change, and then start tomorrow from a totally different light, it is possible to do that. It is all within your reach. It's not going to cost any money, except one thing, that your commitment. All that is needed is only your commitment. But now nobody can commit for you. You have to commit to yourself. But our problem is we are committed to non-commitment. That's our commitment. We all are committed to non-commitment. I do whatever I want to do. But if we just say, remain committed, see, for instance, make a commitment that I will do every hour, every day, 1 hour, the Guru Namah Shivaya, Dhram Dattatreya Shiva Baba. I'm going to do it like, discipline myself and say this sound 1 hour a day. I know there are people who write these sounds 3 hours a day, and then miracle after miracle follow because of this commitment. So 1 hour is not a lot of time, you just talk on the phone for 3 hours, watch television for 4 hours, or read a book, I was never able to understand people. I travel a lot on the airplane. People come with big books, killing their time. I just go into the plane and I meditate, close my eyes and meditate. But these people want to kill the time by reading a book. And what is it going to do to you? You are wasting time. It is precious time. You could have used the time chanting. That's how people are constantly engaged in whiling away time, killing time. When I was doing my master's in India, I have a master's, a couple of masters, one master's, it was in American literature. And I had to read Moby Dick. You have heard about Moby Dick. Moby Dick is this big. I only used clip notes. I could never read that big of a novel. First of all, it's so boring and just a waste of time. But so many people enjoy reading this big of a book as if they don't have anything better to do. Instead of, you fly from here to New York 5.5 hours. These 5.5 hours, if you just keep chanting, Guru Namah Shivaya, Dhram Dattatreya Shiva, by the time you get off the plane in New York, there will be somebody waiting for you with some money. That's for sure. You have to really, really put the effort to keep chanting. If things are not happening, we should not go about blaming it on someone. You have to blame it on yourself, because we are not doing the things we're supposed to do to set things right. So we have together made an agreement that we don't want to repeat from tomorrow onwards the old mistakes. The mind will keep going it because of it's used to it, the old things. But you have to make sure that the mind is under control. You have to control the mind. In order to control the mind, you have to be separate from the mind. You have to be in dialogue with the mind and then say, whenever the mind goes to the old things, because there is a groove, and then it goes into the groove, and then you just pull the mind out of it and then put it on another track. No, this is not acceptable to me. Now go on in this track. Go on a fast track. And one more thing, and then after that we will break. It's not a meditation, this is a ritual that I want all of you to do. Every day, you have to at least cut 1 or 2 limes. The lime has the ability to absorb your bad karma. Roll the mountain on the lime on your right shoulder, left shoulder, throat, and the brain, the head, and then cut it and throw it out. The more you do, the more quickly you will be able to get rid of your karma. There in my ashram in India, I used to buy huge sacks, they call it, huge bundles, like a garden bag full of lemons and limes, and give it to the participants, and then they keep cutting. And that releases the old karma. That you should do every day.